Jeff, we're winding down spring practice here. How's the team looking overall?
I'm proud of them. I said it the last time y'all interviewed me. It's the best practicing group I've ever had. These kids are extremely bought in a time where there's tons of distractions. There's so many things going on in these men's mind right now. And I feel bad for them. I really do. But they don't bring it on the field, and they're locked in and they go hard. I know they love each other. I can just tell the way they practice, how they celebrate with each other. And it's been I didn't get to have my first spring here because of COVID, but those kids were just as bought in. And I would say, other than that group, this is my favorite spring group I've coached so far. Now, we're not to the season yet. We're not even sure what our team is all the way yet. But so far, what I've had, I've really enjoyed.
At the beginning of the spring, it seemed like you were trying to be more disciplined and trying to button up some of those issues. How would you say that went throughout this process for them?
Yeah, I was in this morning at 3 a.m. and I was doing my quiet time, and somehow I walked to the locker room. I noticed one thing. So there's no way that's true. So I went back downstairs, and the locker room looked fantastic. There were 5 guys that had their lockers open and just didn't have their shoes quite the way I wanted them. And I took a picture of those 5 and sent them to Philo, and they're on the field right now, getting dropped in the grease. So they've been really good.
3 a.m. is pretty early. Is there a lot of sleepless nights these days for a head coach?
Yeah, 1:11 the night before that. That's the earliest I've ever gotten up, 1:11. But I'm not even tired. I might look tired, but I'm really not. I've been running on adrenaline, and the next 36 hours can't go by fast enough, honestly.
One of the other things that you guys really changed this year was the beginning, the stretching, the warming up. I asked you at the beginning of spring ball about that. Now that you guys have gone through the entire spring thing, the pods, all of that stuff, I know it's still early and you guys haven't gone ahead and done probably a full evaluation, but how has that worked out? Have you seen less bumps and bruises go through spring camp because of the way you guys are warming up, training, and doing things a little bit differently now in these practices?
Whether it's luck or that, we've gone 20 periods. We've not backed off. Today's the first time we went down to 16 periods. Today's the first day we did not go racks of good on good the entire time. And we've had, believe it or not, one injury to an offensive lineman in the warm-up, which is ironic. And then we had a running back have a hamstring injury on a touchdown run. And that's it for soft muscle tissue. And we've not had anybody else miss practice due to that, which has been amazing. Now, we started the year off with a bunch of kids missing from the injuries from last year, so it's not like our whole team's out there practicing, but the kids that are able to practice, we lost actually Kamar and Bryson, Kamar being the tackle and Bryson being the running back.
And from a comparison standpoint, where were you at like last year? Can you remember that as far as, did you have a lot more bumps and bruises going into the offseason?
We had 6 soft muscle tissues after the first 2 days last year, and we're down with 14, and I've only got 2 so far. Now we've got, Icequake, broke his finger and we got it duct taped. We back in there rolling again, but nothing like, hamstrings growing, calves to that nature. Haven't had knockdown shoulders yet. Been really, really, really happy for my kids. They bought in, how hard they worked, and Philo and what our strength staff done, Coach K down there.
It feels like spring ball with practice and then the portal opening and closing, that this time of the year, Coach, has become just as drama-filled as playing out a regular season these days.
Yeah, you pretty much know with 2 transfer portal windows, you're not getting Christmas, you're not getting New Year's, and you're not getting Easter. I mean, that's pretty sad that most of my prayer life on Christmas and Easter is about a portal window, and it should be about the Lord and it's all the wonderful things He's done. And even my daughter last night, who's home, she even said to me, she's like, Dad, you got to focus on all the great things you got going. You got 98% of your kids gonna play for you again, and it is a weird thing about life. We sometimes get too focused on the couple of negatives, and we don't focus enough on the positives. And I got to stay in my. I need to feed my positive dog, Benny, for sure.
How fluid is the roster management situation at this point in spring?
Well, anytime you lose one, that means you're bringing in 5 for an official visit. Just think about the amount of money that's being spent on every time you see a kid hit a portal. That university he left is probably bringing in 5 kids to try to replace that one. That's 5 airlines, that's 5 hotels, that's 10 meals, however many meals that is. Yeah, and Jenna and Parker are working their tails off. And, you need more staffing in that department just because that's just such a load on her and Parker right now. And I'm very grateful for all the interns we have here that help us. They're going to have to put something back in place, or you're just not going to be able to keep up this. You know how many guys are in the portal, so think of all the unintended consequences of just replacing those kids. Not to mention the ones that are going to get left out. They won't have a place to go. They won't graduate.
For every problem in this world, there's a solution. How close do you think that not only this program, but all NCAA is at getting to that solution?
Yeah, I just think it's way more complicated than we want it to be. But I do know that Charlie Baker is working his tail off with NCAA, and I know ADs and presidents are doing all they can. But right now it's in the judge's hands that we're all waiting on that. So there's just a lot to this. It's not as simple as we want it to be. There's a couple of pretty simple fixes, but it's just not as simple as you want it to be because they're not employees, so there's not collective bargaining, so there's no way you can agree on stuff. And if I was a kid, I'd want 8 windows. I wouldn't want 1. I mean, if I'm a kid, I'd want unrestricted free agency every day of my life too. I won't blame them, but it's just way more complicated than it appears to be.
Jeff, how would you rate the progress with the defense overall this spring with a lot of new pieces coming together? What have you seen over this month?
Yeah, a good group of kids. They're glad to be here. They're grateful. They're ready for their chance. We replaced every starter, so every kid is competing for a starting job legitimately. What's kind of opposite of last year. Our offense, most of our guys are coming back. Where defensively, they're replacing all those guys. So it's kind of just an absolute flip-flop of last year.
When you get the whole first team out there, do they look better now than they did at the start of the spring? Have you seen some progress?
I wouldn't even know who the first team is. We just rotate the heck out of them. There's about 33 of them that have all appeared in the starting lineup, and we haven't even decided who those guys are yet.
Jeff, you watching the NFL draft tonight? You gotta. Where do you think Tariq? I'm sorry.
I do it all the time.
Yeah,
Zay.
yeah, Zay. Where do you think Zay's gonna fall?
I don't know. I've heard anywhere from 3rd to 5th. So he'll probably be a guy you'll start tuning into. Tomorrow or maybe Saturday. So wherever he goes, because of his character, his length, and his speed, that's where our kids are just different. No, they're going to be hard to cut. Whether they get drafted or they're free agents, they've created a great reputation for themselves of their work ethic and their stick-to-itiveness and just winning the day. And that stuff still matters. Height, weight, speed, power, I get it. You can't ever measure the power of a functioning brain cell and someone that gives a crap. I mean, character and IQ still matters, man.
All right, Jeff, appreciate you.
Yeah, man.